Hi, well, this is going out live. This is very impromptu, so I may even delete it. But who knows who's watching? And I'd like to engage the chat line. I'm not sure it's working. So let's just say hello. Hello, and if you're watching, nobody's watching right at the moment. I think a lot of my notifications aren't working, and hi. My name's Jeremy Broun. This is really impromptu. If you've got time on your hands, I have. I may even delete this, but I thought I'm going to have a jam this afternoon. It's 4:30 here in England, and it's actually a sunny day. It's unbelievable. It's been raining constantly, and just when you want to get out, what happens? We have this blinking virus where we've got lockdown. So I'm just going to have a jam on my own here, which please feel free to come and go. But while you're here, what I'd like to say is that I wonder if anybody knows any technology that's available whereby the stream that you're seeing now, the band that I play with, because our gigs have been cancelled because of the virus obviously, whether we can stream something like this from our individual homes. In other words, we all play the same tune, so in effect it is live. The only difference is we can't see our audience. The feedback would be there on the comments, but we would be able to play with each other, because that's what makes live music live, is the fact that musicians are maybe making the odd mistake, correcting. So I wonder if anybody has got any ideas whether there is a technology available. I mean, hi Dawn. I don't often have many female viewers. This is a woodworking channel. I don't know whether you're a subscriber, but for many years I've encouraged women to take up woodworking. But music, of course, isn't quite so discriminatory. And Gasper, hi. This is very impromptu. I decided I was going to have a jam in any case, and because I'm in probably like you, I'm in lockdown, and it's a bit frustrating not being able to get out, and I thought I'd have a jam, so why not go live? If it's a load of crap, I'll just delete it. There's no great plan to this, but I would be interested if anybody watching has got any idea about whether there's a technology available to do a kind of simultaneous stream, so the other guys, the other guitarists that I normally play with, they can have film simultaneously in their homes the same song, and we can go out live, like a collective live. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Probably not making it very clear. So let's see. I've got a few. I'm using backing tracks. Let's get a bit of music going. Oh, this one's called This Masquerade, and I do it to a kind of Sade 1990s backing. guitars that I made in 2018. Got a bit of distortion built in. Don't know whether that works. Please feel free to ask me anything you like. Gasper says, nice song. Yeah, it's my kind of interpretation, of course, of that lovely George Benson classic. I'm using nylon strings on this guitar, and it's quite a sophisticated guitar. It's got Graphtec pickups, which means I can play it through a Roland synthesizer, and I can create piano sounds, flute sounds. Please check out some of my music videos on my channel because I do studio recordings. But this is obviously live, and my apart from the fact that I'm jamming, and I thought, well, why not just switch the camera on? But also I have a question for anybody out there, whether anybody knows whether it's possible, whether there's any software, a bit like OBS software, whereby the guys I play with, we can't play in the gigs, they've been cancelled, but whether we could play some of our gig songs simultaneously from our homes, but feed into a live feed which goes out as this is going out. So instead of just seeing me in a little thumbnail, you'd see the whole band, the singer, the lead guitarist. I tend to play rhythm guitar, and then we've got bass guitarist. Occasionally we have keyboards player. I mean, wouldn't that be fantastic to be able to set that up? Because, we're going to be locked down for quite a while, I guess, with this terrible virus. So Gasper says, yes, he doesn't know about the technology, but technology, everything's possible now. I tell you something, if it isn't invented, somebody's going to invent it really soon, because we're really going to have to change our ways. A different lifestyle is imposed on us. Thank God for music. Some of us can play music and people can listen to the music. What a wonderful thing music is. I'm a self-taught guitarist. I don't even know the names of all the chords, and it's only recently that I've been able to find my way around the fingerboard. In other words, if I put my finger on a certain fret, I can be reasonably sure that it's the note that I want. I play occasionally with a saxophonist friend. He's really good, and I try and catch him out by throwing different chords at him, and he can slide his way around the saxophone and find the chord, or find the note, even if he misses it momentarily. And it just shows how some instruments are more forgiving than others. So what have we got? I actually like Gary Moore the late great Gary Moore. I've done a kind of tribute to Gary Moore on my channel, so please have a look or listen. And this is well, there's a couple. There's one that's I Got the Blues or something like that. Kind of improvised to it. He might turn in his grave if he heard me playing it this way. So that's a kind of built-in gain I've got on my guitar. Really a lead guitarist. So, how are we today? Is it day or night where you are? If you're a woodworker, maybe you'd like to ask me a question. I've been woodworking for about 50 years, so I hope I know something. I've written several books on woodworking. I'm just about to release the revised edition of my book, The Incredible Router, which I wrote in 1989. This is a hardback version, but it will link up online with some videos and PDF files, projects. And I'm kind of self-publishing this. I'm doing another one called Guitar Making Art as well, which will show how I made this particular guitar and one or two others. This is guitar number 21. And I've used plywood for the body, 400-year-old black walnut for the back, and Swiss pine for the front. It's got 250-year-old elm for the bridge, and it's got an ebony fingerboard, so it's got a nice variety of timbers. Hit the road, Jack. God, I can never remember lyrics. I mean, I love Beatles. There were bells in the air, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. There were birds in the air, but I never saw them winging. I never saw them at all till there was you. Much better going through a microphone with echo and everything. And there was music and sweet da-da-da-da. They tell me in la 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 la. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all till there was you. Oh well. Oh, there's still 5 people watching. I'm amazed. I thought I'd have scared you all away. Have you you came to my channel via woodworking? Great. I'm a total amateur in woodworking, says is it Gasper or Jasper? And really enjoy your skills. Oh, thank you. Please, if you've come here expecting woodworking, I can put the guitar down and talk about woodwork, because look, I'm here taking a bit of a break. This is what I do. I'm a woodworker, I'm a writer, I'm a musician. I do lots of different things, but here I am right now, happy to talk about woodworking. You know, what sort of woodwork do you do? Do you do it as a hobby? Do you have a space? Because that's, you know, when I started off, it was easy to find spaces, but now space is quite expensive. Do what you enjoy. Oh, that's very nice of you. That's, you know, at the moment in the world, if I can speak my opinion, I think the world had become, I almost think this had to happen. It's become more and more greedy, more and more rich and poor, more and more me, me, me. And I'm already seeing in my locality people who are thinking more about other people. And it's not rocket science that if you help somebody out, or you think of somebody else, in a way that the universe looks after your needs, if that makes sense. It looks after you. But if you go out seeking gratification, and I'm a bit guilty, I'm a bit of a gadget freak. I buy stuff on Amazon, you know, like little things like this tuner. I mean, of course I need it. I can't even see myself. Might help if I can see. There's a time lag between me. Right, this little digital tuner, I've got 2 or 3 of them. I only really need one. Problem is they don't all work consistently. But I do buy gadgets, and I'm going to have to stop that because it's not probably helping the planet. I mean, I do it in small ways. You know, some people go out and buy Ferraris and stately homes. You know, I mean, that's another incredible thing about this world. You know, that people got different value on money. I mean, some people, £20 or $20 is a lot of money. They've got to get through it in a day, whereas other people, they're earning $1,000 in a minute. So, Jasper, you work outside. Are you a landscape gardener, or what do you do outside? Or maybe a woodworker outside. So I don't know, this solitude thing is a funny old thing. It really is. I mean, when it's really imposed on you, it's kind of can be claustrophobic, and we've all got to find ways of dealing with it, because the short haul is nothing, you know. I mean I can go a week or so working on my own, but to be deprived of actual eye-to-eye contact with other human beings for much longer than that, and even people in families, they can't escape each other. It's crazy what's going on. So you work outside. Tell me more about yourself. Do you where are you from? It says Jasper Limited, so I'm presuming you're in the UK, but you may be in Australia with an outside workshop. Is it summer in Australia? I don't know. So, oh, Slovenia. Oh, wow. Crikey, I have a friend on Facebook from Slovenia, and you write very good English. Then I'm presuming you are Slovenian, but I hear it's a very beautiful country. Am I correct in thinking there's only 2 million people in the whole country? And how are you dealing with this virus? E9 is one of my favourite chords. It's a variation of E. I think it's called E9. That's E minor, sad chord, E major, happy chord. And the blues are supposed to be sad, but they're often played in a major chord, which is a happy chord. So, confusing world. Yes, only 2 million, yeah. So, oh, I don't see this virus more than a total media overkill. Oh, Jasper, I'm guessing you're a really young guy. Tell me how old you are, if you don't mind me asking you. I mean, the problem is I've been watching. You're right in a way, but I wouldn't say it's a total media overkill. Oh, you're 53. Oh, you're still a young man, but you've raised a very interesting issue there, because the media, of course, absolutely exploits human fear. They're having a real picnic now, probably in every country. But the government and their scientific advisors, they're giving out different advice. But what worries me is that I watch the images, and I don't think the images can lie, of the people dying in China, you know, in the hospitals. This is people gasping of breath in Italy. Now, I'm actually in a vulnerable age group, where statistically 15% of my age group, it could be fatal. I don't think I've got any underlying illnesses, but I don't want to die gasping for breath. So I am a bit scared. But I mean, businesses are just closing down, and it's costing the economy a fortune. 2 people died, and they made a police state here. Yes, that's what I heard. My Slovenian friend on Facebook has been saying exactly that, and then other people from Slovenia have told her that she's wrong. They said, get your facts right. She's a friend of mine. She's Slovenian. She's a dancer. I met her playing guitar. She's a lovely woman called Tanya, and a very thoughtful person. And she was just saying this very thing, that it's becoming a police state. And people saying, oh, you don't know, everything's fine. But the thing is, it depends what you're arguing. I mean, to be honest, at the moment, I think we need a police state in England to stop selfish people going out and spreading the disease. Because if you don't know, then it's better to be cautious. But I don't know. Don't worry about your health. Well, I get what you're saying. Don't worry too much. But I think you've got to look after yourself, because a lot of people, when they get to my age, they've spent a whole life wrecking their health, and they get old very, very quickly, and then their organs start packing in. I'm lucky. I look younger than I mean, I'm not a young man, but I'm older than I look. And I used to be a gymnast, so touch wood, I'm reasonably fit. I play badminton. I've had to stop playing the badminton every week. But they've closed down everything. Are you in lockdown? Have they closed down cafes and everything? There must be some rules. How many people to fall ill and die to allow the government to start such communist measures? Yeah, so you think it's politically driven, maybe? I think that's what my Slovenian friend Tanya thinks. But you see, over here, I just don't think the government know what they're doing. I mean, every political party wants power. I mean, that's That's the problem with human beings. They want to control other human beings, and it doesn't whether you call it politics or not. In my lifetime, I've never met so many people who I would now call are control freaks, and I don't really quite understand why, other than maybe people feel really insecure and out of control because, you know, we've got nuclear bombs and all this sort of thing. But it's hard to know. Uh, I just feel we have to do what we're told, because, and also we cannot keep on consuming. I mean, the greed in Britain is terrible. It's shameful, because I'd imagine that Slovenia is a much poorer country. In fact, I know it is. I haven't been there, and I have a girlfriend who's in Russia, and outside the cities, it's really third world country. So we're spoiled in Britain, very spoiled. Greed is not lacking here as well. Yeah, well, I think greed's behind it all. So are you a musician? What sort of woodwork do you do? What sort of woodwork do you make? Do you make outdoor buildings? What do you enjoy about woodwork? Another thing is, this world, people never stop talking. I'm not afraid of silence. If people are switching off because I'm not saying anything, okay. I mean, we listen all the time, constantly, to people who are just saying nothing. I'd rather think, and I quite like quiet people who don't speak a lot, but when they do say, they say something meaningful. And we're lacking that kind of wisdom in our societies. And whether global culture is a good thing, you know, whether it's turning against us. Over here, people are talking about growing our food again and not relying on the rest of the world, because the infrastructure can break down so quickly. I don't know. A simple life. Wood is wonderful. You just got to smell it and touch it, and it's very therapeutic. So I wondered if you were able to answer the questions I asked you. What sort of woodwork you enjoy, and what, there's so much on YouTube. If anybody else wants to say anything, I think there are 8 people watching, so people come and go. Please say hello, and I'm here just to pass the time. If you'd like to ask me about anything about woodwork or anything in life, I don't have any taboos. I think the important thing is to be honest and say and be yourself, and just be honest to yourself in life. And this Western idea that you can have everything and be everything, I think it's a myth. It's a consumer myth. We all live within limitations. That's nature. But God, I'm saying nothing and there are 9 people watching. Maybe this is the peaceful channel where we can just sense each other's presence and do nothing and just be, rather than consume knowledge and A lot of the YouTube channels I think are really wacky. They're kind of high octane, high speed talking, especially the American ones. It's like a fashion, you know, in 2 or 3 years time it will sound ridiculous. It will be so dated. But the information, the great thing about woodworking is it's not here today, gone tomorrow. If you've got good techniques, they're grounded in tradition and history. I had a very traditional training, even though I'm an innovator and a designer. I challenge tradition, but I understand tradition. I can do it the traditional way. And I once said, tradition without innovation is stagnant, and innovation without tradition is frivolous. And that tends to be my philosophy, but we have to move tradition on. So if anybody would like, I mean, I started off by playing guitar, and but I'm happy if whoever's here. Is Dawn still here? I'd love a female to ask me something about woodworking. I love the mindset of women, certainly in England. They approach woodworking with an empty mind, and I find they learn so much quicker. I mean, I've run private courses, and they don't have this prejudice like, well, I wasn't taught that way at school, you know, like you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Whereas I find women have got a lovely, refreshing attitude to woodwork. And God, I used to teach in the colleges, the main colleges in England for years, and the prejudices of the people older than me saying, oh, women shouldn't be doing woodwork, they're not strong enough to lift the planks, you know, the bits of wood. Well, it's such an outdated attitude. I mean, it's laughable today. And that shows how attitudes and fashions change. So, come on, somebody ask me a question, please, because I'm just doing all the talking. And I got my guitar here, and I was just saying earlier on that I wonder if there's any technology that allows me and my band, now that we can't play in public gigs, whether we could do a stream like this where we're all playing from our homes, and that you can therefore see a little thumbnail image of each player, you know, the guitarist, the singer, the bass player. In other words, we deliver a live concert or a live gig. I wondered if anybody knows if there's a technology that's existing. Shall I play something? Shall I play a tune? Tell me what to do. I am the servant at your command. I'm here with looking into a tiny camera. I'm looking out of the window. The sun is shining for the first time. There's spring in the air. You know, where there's despair, there's hope. The yin-yang of life, the opposites, the paradoxes, the parallel truths, the perversity of human nature, the divisions. And yet we all breathe the same air. And the terrible thing about this virus is if it does kill you, that's the very thing that you're left gasping for air. I think that is enough to make me listen to what I'm told and to stay at home for as long as it takes. So, just keeping my eye out if there are any questions. Maybe the chat line isn't working. Sometimes things don't work. So what shall I play? B.B. King. The thrill is gone. listening to the backing track. But it's funny actually. It's one of the songs I play much better when I'm playing live, and I can see my audience, and I get that kind of whatever it is, energy that you get from an audience. I mean, when you're playing to a big audience, not that I play to really big audiences, but the bigger the audience, the more the adrenaline rush, and it's really weird. It's a kind of shared energy thing. I had turn that down a bit. I used to perform with a singer girl. She was an absolute natural, no discipline at all, but a natural blues singer. And we were asked to play in a pub near Bristol Airport, and we were asked to play at lunchtime. We weren't the main act, it was fill-in. It was a family day out, and there were about 4 people, rather like this, a small audience. And she was on stage with me, and she said, "Oh, I can't get out of bed over this. I can't get the energy up just to play to 4 people." And I had to say, kind of gritting my teeth, so that the 4 people who were giving us their attention, so they couldn't hear, I said, just play. I said, we are paid to play. And later I said to her, I said, come on. I said, we as musicians create the energy. You don't rely on the energy from the audience. Now, once you've created that energy, then it's like a wheel. Then the audience start giving back the energy, because the audience, you know, it's an incredible dynamic. They will respond if you are connecting. I mean, this is why Gary Moore was such an unbelievable, soulful guitarist. The emotion he played was just something else. And that's not to say that other musicians, trying to think of the name, JB, his initials, there's a YouTube video, Bonarassi or somebody, Bonarami or whatever, and he's a brilliant musician, but when you compare him to playing the same song, as Gary Moore, Gary's in a different league. And it's funny, it's not that one is better than the other. Technically they're both superb, but one is, maybe it's a vibration thing, that Gary Moore was able to vibrate musically, energy wise, with the audience. And you know, through history there are singers, I don't know, Aretha Franklin, you know who I'm talking about. I'm a musical ignoramus, but there are singers out there throughout history. I mean, I always like Elton John. I think he's got a great voice. However, this is a kind of Sade backing track on Smooth Operator. But music is a wonderful thing. My God, I've been on here 40 minutes. If you'd like to ask me anything about woodworking, I mean, maybe you've dropped asleep, maybe there's nobody watching. It's really odd, this. But I think musicians are very lucky, because I've been organising a band called Jazz Fusion, and it's basically a load of other guys who knew each other before, but I'm the catalyst. I'm the guy who got the gig and knows the boss. So I've been organising music throughout the summer, and Bath is a tourist hotspot, and I'd organised all the music for Thursday evenings throughout this season, starting literally this Thursday, and then the virus came along and knocked it all on the head. But these guys are really good. I mean, it really pays to play with musicians who are better than yourself, because you start playing much better. And but sadly that's all on hold at the moment. We don't know how long, but I suspect it's going to be for quite a while. Oh, I remember I was a young man when Sade was playing in all the wine bars. Oh, those are the days. I had lots of girlfriends, lovely girlfriends, and everybody was so chilled out. And today everything's so stressed up and everything's so micro-analytical. and certainly in Britain we've become so risk averse. So maybe what you're saying, Jasper, is true, that this has been hyped up an awful lot by the media and people are terrified. I just don't know. I just see those images of people in hospitals in Italy, and I do find it quite scary. And I'm not a kind of wimpish sort of person generally. I mean, I've experienced a lot of hardship in my own childhood. So, what should we do? I sometimes have to have a nap in the afternoon, so I might have to go in a minute. I get a real energy drain, funnily enough, around about 4 o'clock. And I have a snooze for maybe an hour, and then I get new energy, and then I come back and I start working on projects like my new book. I've spent 3 months solidly doing this. The Incredible Router, which I wrote in 1989, it was a best-selling book, and I've rewritten it, and I must have spent 14 hours a day for the last 3 months. I'm worn out with it, and it's at the printers at the moment. I'm only having 200 copies initially printed, and I've pre-sold 6. And you know, selling is another thing, because you know, I mean, it's a lovely book, and also it will tie up with online content, so I can keep the online content up to date. So Wood Domain is my website if you're interested, and there's lots of other publications and videos that I've done. I think I've got about 750 videos on YouTube, and they're in different sections. They're predominantly woodworking, but not exclusively. I've got quite a few on music. So for some reason the comments chat stopped some time ago. Maybe you've been trying to make a comment and it's not got through. But I appreciate you watching. I'm only here because there are 5 people watching. I mean, it wouldn't bother me. I think actually if there was less than 5, then I'd wind down, and I'm getting a little tired, so I'll probably go in a moment. But whether it's 5 or 50, it's not. I don't subscribe to this numbers thing. I mean, I've heard that people buy views, that you know, they pay for views. Well, I can tell you in all honesty, I've got 2.3 million views on What Can You Do With a Woodworking Router. I've got 1.8 million views on What Can You Do With a Hot Melt Glue Gun, and I've got 1.1 million views. These are my 3 top videos on pushing the limits of tube bending, because I'm not just a woodworker, I'm skilled in metalworking as well, and I love pushing the limits of each kind of craft discipline. But now that they're in a league of their own, I've got a few that are in the 100,000, but then in the last year or two, I mean, I'm down to, you know, maybe 10,000 views, or some videos, especially my music ones, maybe 1,000 views or 500. You know, because I'm obviously not a well-known musician, and name does count, but I'm probably quite well known as a woodworker. I mean, I used to be very well known in the 70s, 80s and 90s as a furniture designer and a woodworking author. But that's life, you know, there are new kids on the block, and rightly so. And I'll never get bored, I'll tell you that. There's always just too many projects to do, whether I have the energy to do them. So I'm a great believer in pacing yourself and taking the breaks. You shouldn't really be sitting at a computer for so long. And I don't even know whether I'll leave this up. I might play random bits back, and if I think, oh, that was crap, I'll just delete it. But I've left one of my, I did the streaming a couple of days ago, and I think we covered some quite interesting topics, so I'm leaving that one on. But I'd love to go to Slovenia. At Christmas I wasn't doing anything, and I was going to go on a cruise, because I think you have some islands. But keep in touch, Jasper. You know my channel. You can email me if you'd like to. I've got lots of friends globally through you know, my website and YouTube channel, and it's great. Virtual friends, but with common interests, either woodworking or music. However, I guess I should sign off. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll probably do another impromptu one, different times of day. You never know who's watching. But look after yourself, please. And be kind. That's what the world needs. Okay, bye-bye.